Who do you like best? Actually, Maurice is better to answer this one. It's a running back question. Which running back do you like most this year coming out? There's Doug Martin. There's Lamar Miller. There's Matt Forte. I know Forte's your boy.
He's my best friend.
But Forte is obviously older than those other two guys. Who are you looking to go after?
You know, talking around, like I said, I don't see Doug getting out of Tampa, to be honest with you. If I was going to go with someone and knowing coaches, I think Lamar Miller with his breakaway speed, what he was able to show this year in Miami, I think that's something a lot of teams would be, want to look at. The Raiders, for some reason, I feel like he's a fit. They're looking for a second guy to come help Latavius Murray. And I think he could be that guy. And so you got a home run threat and a big body.
What are they going to do? I mean, it seems like some teams are already considering that. Do you think the Steelers are going to do this with Le'Veon Bell, and rather than trying to, I don't know, $8 million a year, something like that, is a back like Le'Veon Bell is probably going to command maybe $10 million a year. Instead, drafting a guy, letting him play the final year of his contract. That's as cold as it can possibly get in the NFL. But running back at this point in the 21st century, it seems like those guys get more wear and tear than anybody else out on the field and wear out more quickly. Ergo, this is cruel to say, but run him into the ground, turn the page, and reboot.
Got an opportunity to have dinner with Coach T last night, and Le'Veon Bell is his baby. Le'Veon ain't going nowhere. Le'Veon is a stud. He is the ultimate mismatch when he's healthy. From a receiving standpoint, we all know what he can do when he gets the ball in his hand. From a running back standpoint, he's very dynamic, doesn't mind blocking at all, can line up outside and play the X or the Z if you need him to at the receiver position. So just talking to Coach T, man, Le'Veon ain't going nowhere. No time soon. Interesting,
and the other aspect of that is talk about, I'm all over the place now with the draft and with the free agents. What do you think the Steelers do with Heath Miller's unexpected retirement? Or what are they thinking? Dwayne Allen jumps out at me among the tight ends because he can do both things. He can catch and he's a high-end blocker at the position for a guy who can still go out and catch passes.
You usually don't get a tight end in the first round. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, they always get their premier tight ends in the first round. And Earl was just somebody special. Heath Miller, of course, he was just somebody special. But if you can find the first round late, they're in the first round late. So that kind of helps them in their mindset on drafting the tight end in the first round because Heath retired. So if you find a special guy coming out of college who have a first round grade and you feel like he can fit, you're going to draft him, and he's going to play right away. If you feel like free agency might be your best bet to go instead of drafting, then you do that. But I know for sure Pittsburgh, they don't mind drafting tight ends in the first round.
Well, the guy who I would love to see them get, because as Le'Veon Bell, we didn't get to see it, but if Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown and Martavis Bryant are on the field, that sounds pretty near impossible to slow down, and yet they need to address the back end of their defense. Sean Smith of KC. If I could pick anybody in free agency for the Steelers to go get, that would be the one I would get.
The corner?
Yeah, nice big guy like that.
Pittsburgh's not really big in free agency. They don't go after the big name guys. They go after guys that are, have good careers, guys that are Pittsburgh guys that we talked about when we were at dinner. I think overall, Pittsburgh is going to deal heavily on the draft. And the tight end that I like this year is coming out of Stanford, Austin Hooper. Guy can play. He's Heath Miller.
Yeah, he's an old school Pittsburgh Steelers kind of guy. And speaking of corners, they might go back and try to get Bryce O'Kane, who left Miami, who was in Pittsburgh the year before. So that's how Pittsburgh works. Like you said, man, they don't like making so-called splash contracts in the free agency. They like staying in house with their guys.
All right, let's talk about a couple other names out here. How about JPP? Would that be intriguing to your Jacksonville Jaguars?
Oh, yeah, give him to me.
You think that they'll chase him?
All 8 fingers of it. We're going to go get him. The guy can rush the passer. With the club or not, I don't care. We saw him with the club. He was beating tackles left and right. You need, and after talking with the Jaguars this week, again, when you're at the combine, it's crazy because you get to talk to everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
The Jaguars, they feel like their offense is where it needs to be. They have a young offense that's going to grow. They need to get that defense up to speed. You're going to have your young first-rounder back and Fowler. You need another pass rush on the side. I can see JPP being that guy. I mean,
and we've talked about it, but Dante Fowler, we don't know what he's going to be yet. We don't know how much trouble he's going to be in for whatever his officiating scandal is, whatever all that nonsense is. But if he arrives the way he was supposed to a year ago, and he shows up, and they get JPP, or they go in the draft,
the guy that they're throwing around.
Man,
I mean,
JPP is a mix of J.J. Watt and Von Miller combined. Like, if that man didn't get injured in the offseason, we was going to be talking about him a lot. So it's J.J. Watt, JPP, and Von Miller. Those three guys, when they're healthy, they're hell. Just point blank, period. And we saw later on when he felt comfortable with the club and the pressure he can put on that hand, he was giving these tackles hell.
And he couldn't even wrap up, really.
No,
I wonder if he'll be better, if he'll figure something out
What you want is a guy to put pressure on the quarterback. I mean, sacks are going to come, but if you have constant pressure on the quarterback, that's when Fowler's going to get his, your three techniques, your noses, those guys getting pressure up the middle, they're going to put your quarterback in a situation.
What about Eric Weddle, Reggie Nelson? What do you like out of those two? Is Weddle?
I like Reggie. Reggie's your middle field safety. He's a true single high safety.
He finally came to what we was looking for.
Yeah.
Reggie Nelson. So I feel like he's going to get paid. Like, he's everything you're looking for in a free safety.
I can see him back in Jacksonville.
He can cover. He can hit. He can go from sideline to sideline. He's a turnover machine. Eric Weddle, man, you just like the way he's just a football player. Doesn't have the size. Doesn't have the speed.
But is he done? Is he used up, or does he have something left?
Yeah, he got a little bit left, and not too much. Right now, from the 90, so he got a 92 gas in there. You're probably looking at the 87. Then probably a couple more years, he's going to drop down to the 82. But he's still a football player. Like, he's one of those guys who doesn't have your 6'3", 210 height, weight, but you run that tape. He always hustling to the ball, and he's always around the ball, making plays, and that's what you can't take from him.
At all.